How y'all doing tonight? We're going to make a nice little Southern Cajun dish here we like to call grillades. And it's either made with beef or veal, but tonight we're going to make it with venison. We killed a deer last weekend, and we got the back straps here, and we're going to use some of that. You can use beef, you can use the top round steak, but the back strap's similar to that. So we're going to cut some of that up, and so we're going to make some grillades, and we're going to serve that over some cheese grits. It's going to be really good. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll get to breaking down some of this deer meat, and we're going to make a really good slow cooked dish. Alright, what we got here, I got probably about 3 pounds of venison tenderloin, and I'm going to cut it up in little pieces. Then we're going to hammer it out and get it real flat and thin. So let me see. I'm going to go ahead and get it down here on my cutting board. Let me see if I can zoom you in a little bit here and let you see how I'm kind of cutting it. How thick or thin. Basically just want to make little strips kind of. Alright, if you can see there. I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to take about a piece that's about 2 to 3 inches long going this way to about 1 inch wide. A little chunk like that, and just go ahead and slice that off of there. And I'm just going to cut all of it up just like that, and then we'll come back and we'll start pounding it with the meat tenderizer. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I got me a plastic zip top bag, just empty. I'm going to take this meat, I'm going to put a couple pieces in here, just kind of space them out. I'm just using this to help keep everything from splattering everywhere. I'm going to start pounding it out thin. So I got about 3 pieces in here. Alright, just push it down flat. You'll get my meat hammer, turn it to the flat side. You don't want this side because that'll rupture the bag. You want to lightly start pounding on this venison. And let's see, I'll tell you how much you want to get done. You don't have to hit it too hard, but you do have to hit it a little bit hard. Okay, we got it like that. Yeah, and this is about how thin it is. See, it's not too thick, but it's probably about, I guess, maybe a little less than 1/2 inch thick. But that's good. We'll go set that aside and get all these pounded out like that. Okay, now we got everything all pounded out. Next step, we're going to season both sides. I like to use this Goya. It's adobo seasoning. This stuff here is pretty good. It's just a all-purpose seasoning, basically. I use it on a lot of raw meat and stuff. A little bit of that on there. I also have a little Slap Your Mama. Let's see. I've got one more thing to grab. I've got a nice little steak seasoning I like. It's a local steak restaurant. And go ahead and get some of that on there. Alright? So you just go ahead and you season both sides, you flip them over and do the other side. And we'll go ahead and get that done. Alright, next thing we do, now we got both sides seasoned. We want to get these a little bit of dredged in flour. So we're going to take them, a little bowl of flour over here. Now I didn't season this flour because I seasoned the meat. I don't want this flour on the outside to burn. Now we're not getting a big coating because we're not going to deep fry them or anything. We just want to get a nice little dusting of flour. See, let's get an even little coating, just like that. That's just fine on both sides. And we'll do this to all these and set them on a plate on the side. Alright, now it's time to go ahead and get this meat browned down. We're going to put a couple tablespoons of oil. I use vegetable oil in my cast iron pan here pot, and I'm letting that heat up. I'm going to go ahead and start putting some of this meat in there. Now one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to overcrowd the pan when you do this. Just waiting for that oil to get it's not quite hot enough. So we're going to let it heat up just for a couple more minutes. I'll be right back to you. Alright, think you got that grease hot enough for that oil. You can see it rippling there on top. So what I'm going to do is just lay this meat in here and be careful not to overcrowd the pan. Just lay it, you know, side by side just like that, but you don't want any overlapping or anything like that. Once we get all this meat in here on one side, I'm going to try to do this as quick as I can. I'm going to go ahead and set my timer. I'm going to let this brown for about 1 minute on each side. I'm going to do that and then I'm going to flip it over. Alright, let them go 1 minute on that first side. Now I'm flipping them over. I'm going to let them go 1 minute on the reverse side. And as soon as they've gone 1 minute, I'm going to go ahead and take them off and I'm going to put them in this reserve pan over here. We're going to finish cooking them in the next step here a little bit later. Alright, now I got all my meat browned up. I still got that stuff down at the bottom of the pan. Go ahead and add some Trinity. On one bag here, I just this seasoned blend here, which just is bell peppers, celery, and onions. And I'm just going to let it cool this pan down and start getting some of that stuff off the bottom of this pan. I'm going to go ahead and stir this around for a minute, let it thaw out, and just get that good stuff off this bottom of this pan. Now I've got all that meat set over here to the side. Alright, now that these vegetables cooked a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in some mushrooms. I've got just about a pound of sliced mushrooms. Put those in. Alright. Now I've got 1 can of peeled tomatoes and the juice. I'm going to drain a little bit of this juice out. And go ahead and put those in there. Now I'm going to stir this around. I'm going to let this cook about 5 minutes. And oh, by the way, I've got my oven on 350 right now. I'm letting it preheat. I'm going to let this cook about 5 minutes. And I'm going to take this all and put this aside. All these vegetables and everything mixed up. Okay, I let these vegetables cook for 5 minutes. And I took them off and put them in this container. And one of the reasons I did this is to see how much juice is in there. This is going to be a really meaty dish. And a lot of this water that comes out of these vegetables, we don't necessarily need it. We're going to put a bunch of flavors in here. We want it to be really rich. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to strain some of this juice off these vegetables. Now, after I did that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a roux. I got about a 1/3 stick of butter in here right now. And I got a 1/3 cup of flour. So, normally I use my little roux maker to make a roux, but tonight, since we're doing all in one pot, I'm going to have to do it myself. So I got my 1/3 cup of flour, put in here with this butter. I'm going to start stirring it around and try to start making that roux. And not make such an awful mess. I don't know what's wrong with this thing here. Alright, so I'm going to stir this around. I'm going to get just a slightly tan roux here. Okay, see how this roux's got nice and tan? Been about a 1 beer roux. By the time it takes a drink of beer, I made this roux. So it's not too dark and it ain't burnt. So in a quick hurry, I'm going to add my vegetables back in. Because you don't want to burn this roux by not stirring it. So add all the vegetables back in there. And go ahead and stir them in. Okay? Everything's going to clump up, but that's right. That's how it should do. Okay, it's getting thick now because that's the way the roux works. Okay, now that you got your vegetables in, you want to put your seasoning in real quick. I've got, this is 3 bay leaves, a teaspoon of thyme, a teaspoon of basil, and a teaspoon of parsley, some black pepper, and a little slap your mama. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there right now. Get that stirred in. Alright, man, it's really coming now. You can smell that smell. Wow. So that's I'm on about medium heat now. Okay. Now I've got some Worcestershire sauce. Go ahead and add that. This is just a tablespoon of Worcestershire. Go ahead and do that in. Now I've got a tablespoon of hot sauce. I just use Louisiana hot sauce. Put that in there. You gotta kind of be quick at this point. Then right before, I've got some stock too I'm going to put in. I'm going to put in a tablespoon of garlic, crushed garlic. At least a tablespoon. I'll put a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to stir that in there. Now, I've got a cup, a little bit more than a cup of a sweet red wine. I like to use a Marsala in this particular dish, but you can use a dry red wine, or you can use a sweet. Whatever your proclivity, you just use it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. About half of it first. Get that stirred in. And you can really smell that wine starting to cook. Alright, now that I got about half of that in there, I've got 3 cups of beef stock. I'm going to start adding this beef stock. I'm just going to slightly pour it a little bit by little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and keep stirring. I'm going to keep adding this stock and this wine until I get all my liquid in there. And we're still on about a medium heat. Okay, so I've got all that add in. If you notice, it's looking, just soup thin. But it's still got that roux in there you got to think about. And now I'm about to start adding a couple pieces at a time this venison back in there. And remember, this venison got that flour all over. And we brown with that flour, so what's going to happen is that flour is going to thicken this sauce up some more. So go ahead on medium heat. I'm just going to add all this venison back in a piece at a time. Just stir it on in here. Alright, so I got all this venison back in there. On my vegetables and the wine and everything. It just smells wonderful. Still a little bit thin. Like I said, that flour is going to cook off with that venison. So I'm thicken this juice up, and it'll be just right. So now I got my bay leaves in there too. I remember to count them. I think I got 3 or 4 in there just to get them out later. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the top on this dish, and I'm gonna put it in that oven on 350, and I'm gonna let it sit in there for 2 hours. And I tell you what, it's gonna make this meat so tender. It's gonna cook these vegetables down. And it's gonna be just perfect. But we're gonna come back in a minute. We're gonna make them grits. Okay, so the grillades have been cooking for 2 hours. They're so unbelievably tender. I wish you could just see this or smell this. I mean, they're just, you can cut it with a fork. It's just coming apart. This meat is so tender. What I'm going to do, instead of going ahead and making the grits tonight, I'm going to let this cool a little bit. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. And I'm going to make the grits tomorrow. I just don't want to waste any of this. I'm going to wait till everybody's awake. I mean, this is just unbelievably good. I tasted some of it, and it's just really rich and really fantastic. Alright, we're going to finish making these grillades now. We're going to go ahead and make the grits part. So what I've done, according to the package instructions, I've got some water, about half water, half chicken stock, boiled down here on the stove. I've got about, I think it's 3 cups. I got a cup of grits here. These are stone ground grits, just real good, from scratch grits. Go ahead and pour them in a bowl of water, okay? Now I've got it on high heat right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this around. Now I'm going to turn this heat down to about low. And I'm going to set this on low. I'm going to let it sit here and simmer on low for about 30 minutes, stirring it pretty frequently, and these grits will get nice and soft and thick. Anyway, while I got those grits cooking, I went ahead and took some of those grillades out the refrigerator and I got them heating up. Because what I did, I cooked those grillades last night and it got to be so late, and I said, well, I'll just put them up and we'll finish it tomorrow. So that's what I did. Here's these grits. They've been cooking about 5 or 6 minutes, and I tasted them. I don't think they're going to take no 30 minutes. I might leave them about 3 or 4 more minutes, and then we're going to start adding some of the cheese and stuff to them. Okay, I believe these grits are just about as thick as I like them here, and they have a good texture to them. I tasted them. It's only been probably about 10 minutes. So I got some cheese now. I got 2 different kind of cheeses, and I got some butter. You don't have to put the cheese in there, but I like a little cheese in my grits. And I might actually, I'm going to stir this up. And if it's too thick, I might actually add a little bit of milk to them. So, I'm going to stir this in. And I got the grillades over here. They're getting hot. And oh yeah, it looks good. It don't look too thick. It looks just perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these grits off. And I'm going to keep stirring them while these grillades get hot. Alright, getting ready to serve them up here. First you get your grits here. Nice cheese grits. Nice and hot. A couple scoops of them. Right, then I'm gonna go over here and get me some of these grillades. Mushrooms, get some of this sauce. Make sure I get plenty of this sauce. This meat. There you go. A nice order of grillades on top of grits. Man, it's gonna be good.